Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Buy Your Side podcast, the podcast that may help you make smarter property buying decisions. Now, I have been recording podcasts for quite a number of years, previously with Sydney Property Insider and more recently with obviously the Buy Your Side podcast. And the reason I've been doing this is because I want to help educate buyers out there to make smarter property buying decisions. And it can be hard because as buyers, you tend to be at such a major disadvantage in the property transaction. And sometimes I hear feedback from people who've been listening to the podcast over time and come back and said, "Oh, your episode on strata reviews has really helped me here and this and that." But recently, someone reached out to me, lovely Helen Ruprecht, via LinkedIn, and said, "Thanks to your podcast, I was able to buy my first property." So, of course, I wanted to know more. And I'm so excited to have Helen on today. And I want to talk to her about what was the journey like for her? What did she learn most by listening to the podcast? Because maybe listening to her story will help you not lose hope and know that actually it is possible to do it by yourself, no matter how hard it might seem in the Australian real estate landscape. So, without further ado, Helen Ruprecht, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure, my honor, and actually, let me express my appreciation to you and your podcast because listening to it helped me, you know, I wouldn't say it guide me through because there were too many things that probably I never ever experienced before, but it supported me. And, every time I stood up, I fell down. I needed to listen to it, and you inspired me to stand up and not to give up.
Keep
And
going.
in March this year, 2023, I settled with my first unit, and I never ever had this experience before. And I believe that at least 50% of success was because of your podcast.
That's great. That's awesome. So I wanted to get you on the podcast because I wanted to understand more about your property journey. So I wanted to, and quite a lot of how people come into owning property has a lot to do with their family history, right? So with you, are you from a family of property owners, and like is it something that is held in high esteem in your family culture, if you like?
I wish. Unfortunately, it was not so. Okay, give me a second, please. Uh,
Sure.
the problem here was that my parents didn't purchase any
Yeah.
properties. I was renting all my life, and when I moved to Australia in 2015, I started renting.
Yeah.
I dreamt of my own home, but I'm a single mother, and I've got two kids.
Yeah.
And with kids and you're renting, it's, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's close to impossible to
Yeah.
start putting away money for the deposit.
Absolutely.
And even 5% deposit looked unbearable to me.
Yeah.
So, but I was kept saying that I want a house, I want a house, I want my own property. And in 2021, 22, my landlord started to commit very weird actions. I mean, first, the trees were cut out. He invited people to, had a lecture because they were fantastic trees,
Yeah.
wild, beautiful eucalyptus, and he just cut them out. And while doing that, he actually affected my internet connection, and it was COVID then, and it was very disappointing.
no.
And I was keeping asking my real estate agent, I rented through the agency, what is happening? What is
Yeah.
going on? And after that, when I saw people on my backyard measuring the land, I understood that no, something is definitely happening. And I was searching in one of the groups for single parents, for single moms, obviously, because I was very terrified. I moved 4 times. My move to my own unit was fifth. I hope it, at least
The last
for
time.
no, I still I'm still dreaming of the house, but now I understand what I want.
Yeah.
And when I was moving, it was additional costs, and I was terrified that I will have to move quite soon.
Yeah.
And the property agent was saying, no, no, no. So I, decided to check what's happening. On your podcast, I was listening, and you discussed about renting, etc. You somehow mentioned that there are 2 types of contract. I came and said, okay, I want a contract for 12 months. They said, no, 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 we don't want that. And then I understood that they're planning something. And
Yeah.
this lack of transparency moved me further. I decided that I need, another rental property, but I'm not a single mother and a single parent, but I'm also a fur parent. I've got 2 dogs.
Yeah.
And
Right.
renting with the
That makes it
dogs,
harder.
it
Yeah.
makes things almost impossible. If you jump on the site, real estate, domain, whatever, and check what are properties available for rent, you'll see plenty of them on different budgets. But if you tick one point, pets, 99% will disappear. So
Yes.
I decided, okay, what can I do? And while I was listening to your podcasts, I learned about this program, that program. I learned that in other states, there were, for example, initiative of the government when they paid up to 70% of your property and co-own with you.
Yes.
It had some pros, it had some contras. It hadn't been set up for New South Wales, where I
Yes.
was looking for the property, because I've got the job here and I didn't want to move. And my kids, they attended a school, very good one, and that was also a challenge. And when I discovered that, yes, my landlord will definitely rebuild something on the property, and I decided to move out. They said, no, 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 we'll give you 1 free week if you'll stay till the new year, because yes, your landlord want to demolish the property. From one hand, it was a terrifying experience, but from the other hand, it was such a relief, because I finally got the transparency. I understood what is happening. And I started to look for what's on market. And, I learned that there is a new initiative for solo parents, such as I am. And for those parents, 5 banks provide the mortgage options with just 2% deposit.
Yeah.
I calculated, and I understood that 2% is doable.
Yeah.
And I started to save as much as I could, despite all this additional, costs rising all the time. And I was able to save this money. But with saving the money, there is a thing. You must show to the bank that it is a genuine saving. I mean, it's your money, not borrowing from someone. They must sit on your account for 3 months.
That's right. Yes.
And when I started doing that, the rates started to grow from 2% to 5% within
Yeah.
less than half a year.
Yeah.
And I felt, like Alice in Wonderland when you need to run 3 times faster just to stay at the same position.
Yes.
Uh, there was a moment when I was having this deposit on my account, and the rates increased, and my borrowing capacity dropped in one day for a couple of hundred of thousands, from
Yeah.
500,000 over 650 to 400,000.
Yeah.
It was, I have no words to express my feelings
Yeah.
back then, but I got another job and I was able to show to the bank that, yes, I am reliable. Come on. I was able to pay the rent more than I'm paying for the mortgage now, despite the
Yeah.
fact it's, a unit, it was a house, and I own 3-bedroom space, and I love it to bits. And again, less than I paid in rent. It's
Yeah.
a miracle to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And it was very, very tough just to get to this point. And when I got to this point, and you know, I was trying to look at the properties. Okay, what's on the market? But market was moving so fast that to the moment when I got to the point that I am pre-approved for the mortgage, I can afford only, let's say, miserable places in the very unfriendly communities.
Yeah.
Uh, I frequently joke that at my neighborhood, there is a very strong medical support. When you come out of the house, you see syringes everywhere.
Oh my God.
It's not a very good spot, but I'm originally from Western Europe. There is nothing
Yeah.
to, get me frightened or scare me. So
Yeah.
I decided that despite all that, I need to get a property. And I was
Yeah.
listening to your podcast. I was learning because I had nobody here to support me or, to give me to share experience, to share their story. And I was learning so much. First, I was aiming for at least a teeny tiny shitty house. Sorry, but that's what I could afford. The only thing. And unfortunately, again, with, all these raises, this house kissed me goodbye. And okay, I decided, okay, townhouse will suffice. It didn't happen because, again, the property was
The
moving
prices
so
kept going
fast.
up.
The
Yeah.
rates kept going. The
Yeah.
prices skyrocketed.
Mm.
But I was listening to you, and it was like just a piece. When you get into the hurricane, they've got a safe spot in the middle of the hurricane when it's calm and quiet. And I felt the same with your podcast. Everywhere around me, it was
Yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster, isn't it? Because you get conflicting information, and whilst you're trying to gain more ground with your savings, the market keeps moving further and further, and it gets to a point where you almost think it's unattainable.
absolutely.
If you don't keep your focus on what is actually achievable. So how
That's
long
why
did you?
I was listening to your podcast, and you told to adjust your expectations. That's exactly what
Mm,
I did. Moreover,
yeah,
in one of your podcasts, you mentioned about inspections, and actually you provide a fantastic checklist what to look for
yeah,
during inspections. And when you go on the house hunting journey, it's actually like a second job. I
it
was
is. It's a
full
full-time
time.
job for me.
Exactly.
Six
I was
days
a
a
full
week.
time
Yep.
parent. I was a
Mm,
full time employee, and I
mm,
needed to attend full time
mm.
for just, house hunting, for inspections, for all these things. And it was, you know, I work in the consulting business,
Yep.
and there was a joke about the consultant. Consultant comes to a party and meets some friends, and they just found out that, oh, you do this, and the person answers yes I do, and they ask, okay, what can you just recommend? The person answers, there are two types of recommendations. One is free, it's an advice. And second is paid, it's consultation. Oh, can you please give me advice? Here is my advice, book and consultation. If I would repeat this journey, I would probably jump over my head and go to the agent, to the buyer agent, because it was my first home, and I did as much as many mistakes as I could.
Yeah.
Uh, I started to look before I was pre-approved, and it led to such an emotional distress.
Mm.
Don't do that.
So that's mistake number one. Do not go shopping without your wallet.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the
And you know,
first,
how long did it take you to get your pre-approval in place? Did that was that a weeks, or how long
uh,
did it, because you were part of that scheme? How long was it actually? Because people need to take that into consideration. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks, but sometimes it takes longer because the broker or the scheme needs more information from you. How long did that
exactly.
take for you?
Exactly. So, first thing I did right is to find a good broker, which you recommended in your podcast. That
Yes.
I did right. That was not
They're
mistake.
they're worth their weight in gold, as opposed to just popping into a bank branch. You know, those they're only
Again,
going to offer you their own product. Yeah,
there were five banks who could help me,
yeah,
and we actually applied in two banks at the same
yeah.
time,
Perfect. Yeah,
because uh, I found this unit which I'm living in now, and I was terrified that it will disappear prior to my ability to purchase it. And I
yeah,
would
yeah,
not, it was the last, don't know even how to express that, the last hope
yeah,
to get my own property at all. I was ready to give up. But
yeah.
the agent, the broker, they were fantastic. However, you must get someone from on the legal side. And I just came shopping for recommendations. And as I was trying to save money, I picked the wrong conveyor. I cannot pronounce this legal support stuff.
Conveyancer. It is a tricky
Yes.
word. Conveyancer or solicitor. Yes.
So I
You
could not
went
afford.
for
I would.
someone who was
I couldn't pay
economical.
for the solicitor because
Mm,
the rates are higher. So I decided to go low. However, this, how to say that polite and professional team, they were not dealing ever with this scheme. And when I was going through the process, and it was last week before the settlement,
mm-hmm.
they their action resulted in extra payment for me, uh, and almost cost me a deal. It was,
Okay,
no,
so this is important. So the first one was don't shop without your pre-approval in place. But number two is make sure that you get the right people around you, and cheap is sometimes you pay double or more if you don't get the right conveyancer, because the conveyancers aren't necessarily worse than solicitors. It's about picking, because we work with a lot of conveyancers who are excellent at what they do, and some solicitors or lawyers are rubbish. So it's really important to pick
experience.
someone, yeah, and who knows how to deal with these schemes and make sure that they communicate with you because you have never done this before, and go, hey, Helen, we're now getting to the pointy end. This is what we need from you. This is what is going to happen, rather than you having to find out after the fact that A, it's going to cost you money, it's going to delay settlement, or whatever the case may be. It may cost you the whole deal altogether.
Absolutely.
It's really important that you find a conveyancer or a solicitor that isn't just a recommendation from a family member, colleague, or, Patricia down the road, because they may have only done it once also. So how to find a good conveyancer solicitor, that's tricky without being a professional. So if
That's why I'm
you,
saying go to
yeah,
the buyer's agent. Go to get someone by your side.
well, and I'll put it out here on the podcast today. If you are listening and you want a recommendation for someone in New South Wales, I'd be more than happy to put you in touch. I don't receive or give out any kickback, so it's purely based on merit, who we work with and who we think work well, and to always have the best interest of their buyers in mind, because that's super important. Okay, so that was tricky. What else happened? What's another thing that you would recommend buyers, really think about?
Well, because I had to adjust my expectations and go for the unit instead of the house,
Yeah.
strata was another thing.
Yes.
And
It certainly is. It's a whole different beast.
you actually um, taught us how to communicate with strata, how to look to strata, how to check what's happening with strata, what strata is. And, I mean, from one hand, owning a house, it's much better because you don't pay strata, obviously. But if something
Right.
happens, for example, there was some bastard who vandalized our lights, strata took care of it.
Took care of it. Yeah.
We did.
Okay.
We just kept paying strata. It didn't cost us much money because it was covered by the insurance, and
Yeah.
the insurance was managed by strata.
Yeah.
So I was just checking that our strata is not sinking, that it has good funds, etc., etc. And moreover, uh, I actually was going to thank you because you mentioned somehow that the agent could go and inspect the house for you. The agent can take, the strata because, I mean, uh, explain to you what's happening with the strata because they have the special people. I don't know how those strata investigators or whatever called,
Yeah.
who know how to read the strata report. When I got this strata report, this bundle, oh my, I wouldn't probably even understand if I was not from consulting background.
Yeah.
And that is another benefit to have a buyer's agent by your side.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I tell you what, even in my experience, dealing with a lot of different agents, 99% of selling agents do not actually want to know what is in the strata report. Because if they know, they have to,
You
inform you
disclose
about it.
it.
That's right. And so it's, strata reports tend to be 200 pages plus
Exactly.
on average. So it's not just about understanding, do they have money in the working capital fund and the admin fund, but also are they compliant, all that kind of stuff. So it's an important part of the process if you're buying into a unit or a townhouse, that you really check that very carefully. Now, you also know that apart from buyer's agents checking it, and not every buyer's agent will review that report, by the way. So if you are going to engage a buyer's agent, make sure that they do, that is part of their service. But you know that some conveyancers and solicitors will do that as part of their service as well. So
But for
if you're not
that, you need to
confident,
know, you need to know
mm,
that they provide this service.
true,
Because, I
yes.
mean,
If you don't know what you don't know.
absolutely, absolutely. And I was so happy to, just jump into the car, which I had to give up to get my own unit because I had
Yeah,
the car loan, and that was another thing which decreases your borrowing capacity.
of course.
And
Yeah.
um, I was jumping into the car. I turned your podcast. I started from the first and listened, because your voice, it sounded like it's actually not like it sounded as a person who knows what she's doing, as the guidance, as the star that led me through this thing. And um, it was really funny because when I was ready to give up, there was something on the next episode. Okay, we've got this unit. We've got, for example, the ability to purchase not with common, with the mates. Here is the site, here is the
Yes.
information, etc. And it was so supporting. I cannot even impress how supporting it was.
Oh, Helen, that is wonderful to hear.
Yes,
That is why, I do this podcast, because quite often I think it's just my mom and dad listening. Hi, Papa, Mama. But it's that this is the whole thing, right? You were able to use the episodes and
knowledge
actually
which
use
you
the
shared for
tools to
free.
make, well, it should be common knowledge for everybody, because I know that a lot of people make huge financial mistakes, and
Common
not
knowledge is not that common. It's,
that's true.
I mean,
That's true.
the only thing
That's
that
true.
supported me, I volunteer for Scouts of New South Wales.
Yes.
And, I was trained to be a leader. And Scouts, they've got magnificent thing, which is obviously a common sense. Plan, do, review. So I started to plan, to dream about the house. I listened to your podcast. I wrote the questions that I might, just raise along the way, and
Yeah.
that I might need to get an answer for. And I was looking, okay, strata. What Michelle says about strata? This. Okay, inspections. What Michelle said. A friend of mine came first time to inspect the unit I'm living in. She
Yeah.
made a recording. She wrote down, she checked everything. She opened the water. She, played with the light.
That's
She
so good.
sent me all these things because I had no time. I had no
Yeah.
opportunity to go there. And I actually contacted the agent and said, hey, I want this unit. Can we please proceed? I'm pre-approved, all these
Yeah.
things. I am happy. I have this unit inspected. I didn't say that it was not me. And
Yeah.
the process started. And I was wondering, okay, you told about auctions. Oh my God. I've got a very limited budget. Okay. And the budget, this limited budget, shrinked to non-limited budget. And this
Yes.
non-limited budget became even less. And I was trying to climb this property journey. And you said about auctions. And I decided, okay, I need to go and check for myself. Oh my. I understood that if I was participating in this auction thing, I would fail because the real estate agent who sell it, they're sharks. They are very hungry sharks that will eat all your money and even above. If you don't have a buyer's agent on your side, which can actually stop you. Or, I mean, the girl was after a townhouse. They made her pay 1,100 more than this, guide price.
Yeah.
It was Blacktown area. Come on, 100,000 for what? I mean,
Yeah.
okay, I understood that I'm too emotional, and auctions, they just were excluded immediately. If I saw that the unit, the auction, blah, 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 no, not for
Really?
me. Because this process would be too emotional for me. I was absolutely sure that the guide price will be, risen to the sky, because this price is just a guide. It means that the real estate agent, the sales agent, okay, will play against you. I mean, they do their job for the sellers, obviously,
Yeah.
but you are a buyer. There'll be a conflict of interests. And if you
Absolutely.
don't have someone educated, someone who know the thing, someone who can support you, calm you down, see through all their tricks, you may lose.
So tell me, how did you end up purchasing your unit, and was that up for auction?
No, 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 no,
It
no.
was private treaty.
I immediately excluded all the
Yes.
auctions
So this was a
because,
private treaty unit.
yes,
How did you go
absolutely.
about putting in your offer? Did
So
you have a strategy in place?
I wish I could. Uh, I prayed. I jumped on the phone and I
Please tell me you
called.
did a bit of research as well about the other sales in the area.
What I did, I actually, again, I limited my choices. I was after 3-bedroom unit. Unfortunately, with my budget, 3-bedroom units went off the table. It wasn't just not possible to get one. But I saw 2 units in the area. This one was for sale for a very long time. And it has a study with a window, because studies,
Okay. Yeah.
oftentimes, they just, a room without a window.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So it didn't have the door, but again, the study there were bigger than uh, the bedroom at the house I was renting.
Yeah.
So I checked the strata. I requested the strata. I checked the recent sales in the area
Excellent.
in this particular house.
Yeah.
I squeezed a little bit, went to friends and said, guys, help. My budget need to be a little bit improved.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I put the offer and I started to pray.
I love how you thought outside the box though, because if you had just gone, no, this says it's a 2-bedroom unit, I'm going to dismiss it, you would have missed it. Whereas you actually took a bit of time, discovered that there was actually a study area with a window that could actually work as a bedroom too. So it's a missed opportunity of the agent that they didn't put, but for in the marketing. But for you, this was an opportunity, which
Absolutely.
is fantastic,
So
because you got what you needed for your family.
exactly. So everyone in our teeny tiny family now has the room,
A room,
which they
yeah.
can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's
How old are your
so good.
kids?
Teenagers already, so
Okay.
it's very
So they
important for
need
them.
their own space. Yeah.
I need
Very
my
important.
space.
True.
I never ever had my own room before I moved to Australia and started to rent. And even then,
Yeah.
kids came to me, money, money, all the time. I
Yes, of
needed my
course.
space. I just
Yes.
needed it. And I have dogs. one of the dogs is a rescue. She is a very old one. Sometimes
Yeah.
she gets confused. And
Yeah.
I needed a special floor. The carpet wouldn't work at
Yeah.
all.
Low maintenance, easy to clean.
I
Yeah.
was looking for the unit which shouldn't be fixed at least a lot, you know, and it doesn't require repair. I mean, okay, when I grow up and when I get, you know, um, back to normal, because I decided that two jobs to run in the long run will be very difficult to maintain. So I gave
Yes.
up one,
Yeah.
and still I am managing the mortgage, all the payments, strata,
Yeah.
uh, all additional bills. And I decided that I need time to recover, because then I might think what to do with the kitchen, what to do with the
Yeah.
bathroom. But again, I was listening to a podcast and I was writing the questions. What is important? What is crucial? You remember probably your yellow street thing when you
Don't buy on yellow roads.
exactly
Yeah.
this this unit faces to the teeny tiny uh, green area.
Oh,
It's not a
nice.
park, but definitely they won't build anything there. So it doesn't
Yes.
face to the next
A
unit.
blank wall. Yeah.
It's so good.
Perfect.
I'm so happy with that. It, I mean, and when I had to give up lots of things, there were things I couldn't give up, such as hard floors, preferably the stone floors,
Hmm.
which I have now, not a top level, which I have now. N- you know, I was not sure that I will be able to pay for the strata with the elevator, because elevators,
Yeah.
as you
Costs
mentioned,
money.
and
Mm.
pools and some other things, they might incur additional costs.
True. Yeah.
So my strata is minimal. I'm so
That's
happy.
good.
And they are very good. I mean, they fix whatever should be fixed.
Yeah.
They they're it's easy to reach them. They
Yeah.
are managing and they actually reply quite soon. And I cannot,
So they're proactive, which is very
no,
important.
they are not proactive. They
Okay.
reactive still, but
Okay.
this in a short period of time, which is quite good
That's
for me.
good. Yeah, well, that's more than most stratas are, or some other stratas that I see are just, yeah, useless. Hmm.
So I was listening to a podcast and I was checking what is crucial. Bedroom is absolutely crucial. There are three almost adult people in the family, and due to costs of rent and rental crisis, etc., I might think that my kids will still be with me for some time,
Yeah.
and it would be not very clever to get a unit with one bathroom, sorry, with one
Yeah.
bathroom, and if it's not separated toilet from the bath, it would be a total disaster. Because when three people need to go to the office or whatever, or to school,
Yep.
oh my, I
Yeah.
don't want a queue to my bed to my bathroom.
Yes.
No. So when I saw that, a toilet is separate from this thing, it was such a relief. And it has a balcony. You told that, to have a balcony in the bedroom, it's nice, but probably it won't be that
It
beneficial.
won't be used that much. No.
Absolutely. So I have a balcony with, the windows from the floor to the
Floor
ceiling.
to ceiling. Yep.
And I now have a teeny tiny rose garden on the balcony. And
Oh,
it makes
nice.
me so, so, so happy. And I just, listened, I learned, I wrote all the questions. I listened again to find the answer. But again, if I could afford, I would be just, because buying property is a project. And you are a fantastic, fabulous project mom, I would say, because you are kind of a mom for nervous moms who try to purchase the property.
Yeah.
They panic. They need support. They need guidance. And I jumped on your site and I saw what you do. You talk to people. You help them narrow their expectations. And sometimes you show them that what they want is not what they need.
Yes, that's true.
So
That's true.
I was kind of this mom for me, and I was listening and I was learning and adjusting my expectations over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And
But even whilst doing that, though, you got so much of what you wanted and needed, because
exactly,
you were
because I
able
was
to
listening
focus.
carefully to your podcast and I was listening and learning, and I learned from you that there are things that you shouldn't give up. For
Yeah.
example, I gave up my car to get my property, but
Yeah.
it is such a great thing for me because despite the fact that we live not on a yellow street, we live close to public transport. And it's not a problem for me to jump on the train and in an hour I'm in the city, in the office, all
Yeah.
good.
That's fantastic. So really, I mean, thank you. Thank you for talking me through your journey. But I think the one thing you've shown me is that even if you don't originally come from Australia, even if you don't have the family support network and the bank of mom and dad helping you out, even if you have dependents and you're a single parent, you can achieve what Helen has achieved and have your own property as long as you are willing to be really honest about what it is that you need, being willing to make sacrifices. I mean, giving up your car is not something that you take too lightly, but it helped you achieve your property owning dream. And it really, it's freaking awesome, Helen, that you were able to do that, and I was able to help you a little bit on your journey with that. So I hope that
I would say a little bit. You helped a lot
ah,
because I was absolutely, like a blank page. I didn't know anything about it. And I needed guidance. And that's exactly what you gave me. You provided a guidance. But again, now when I went through all this process, I would probably highly recommend to at least book a consultation with you.
yeah,
Because even if I would not able to have you as a buyer agent, it would be such a great, tremendous help for me just to go to a consultation. And because, podcasts, they're generic information, all
yes,
stratas, all things, all this, all that. But every single parent situation is absolutely different. And I would benefit if I would be brave enough, to get probably a third job to afford your services, but I would win more. Despite that, I was able to negotiate with my sales agent, and it saved me a little bit, teeny tiny bit, but still,
that's
it was a
good
huge
because
help
you
for
had
me
more confidence. That's
because
good.
I
That's great.
knew what is happening.
Yeah. That knowledge, that little bit of extra knowledge that you were able to glean, that gave you more confidence and therefore more power. I'm all for that. I'm all for buyers having more power because most of the time they have none or very little. Because again, you don't know what you don't know. But if you're able to get that little bit of extra confidence, it's going to stand you in good stead, but also it's going to help you walk away from the wrong properties. Because more
Absolutely.
often than not, when I get, for example, new clients and they show me the kind of properties, I always ask, what kind of properties have you come close to buying, but you didn't for some reason? And usually it's because they've been priced out. But it's actually,
I
well,
have.
actually, you dodged a bullet there. You never should have even looked at that property because of X, Y, Z, you know? So that's equally important. You should learn from the properties that they're wrong for you.
Oh, I can tell about that. Uh, I started to hunt for a townhouse, which did not have, I mean, they used to have a garage, but they rebuilt it into the, let's say, another space.
Another
So,
room, yeah, that's quite common. Yeah, I've seen that
absolutely.
before. Mm,
But the thing was that the owners were a little greedy. So I came to them and I said, okay, that's my offer.
yeah.
They said, no. I said, what? Okay, I combined myself together, tried better, came again. They said, maybe, no. And you know what? When I already moved in my unit, their agent contacted me and said, you know, they probably want to rent it. However, what would be your offer? I said, zero. Because,
Yeah,
yes, that's also part of a journey. But again, when you have someone who can show you, no, that's probably not the best choice for you. I mean, my first property is not, the perfect. It doesn't have an elevator. My daughter, she broke her leg, right? And
yeah.
she was
Aye,
for
that would have
one
been
month
tricky.
locked in the unit because it's almost impossible to go downstairs on the crunches. But
Yes,
it is the only opportunity, it was, and probably is, yes, the only opportunity
yeah,
for me to put the foot into the market.
yeah,
Because now
yeah.
I'm paying for my own unit, not someone else's mortgage.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
And
And you've
I'm
got
pretty sure,
security. You are now in charge as much as possible of your own living circumstances and your security because let's face it, in Australia, if you're a tenant, you don't have a lot of rights. That's just the way this country has been built. You know, so having a mortgage and being able to control your spending and that every single payment goes towards paying off that mortgage is a phenomenal amount, of security, but also, just particularly when you have dependents, particularly when
absolutely.
you have children,
For me,
and being able to paint if you want to, you can paint all your walls purple with yellow dots. No one is going to tell you off. I
I
don't particularly
yesterday
want to
I
do that, but
actually saw part of my kitchen because I needed to, and nobody told me anything. Yes.
exactly.
Uh,
Exactly.
One more thing I wanted to say that despite the fact that I was renting for almost 8 years here,
Mhm.
renting for me was a kind of paying for the lifestyle I probably could not afford. For now,
Yeah.
yes, I'm living. Blacktown is not the best area. However, it is a very lovely one. A friend of mine in New York told me, give it 10 years. I'm more than happy to give it 10 years. And then when I'm ready for my next step, because still I now understand that I need a rural property with acreage for my roses,
Oh, nice. I
I will
love
go
that.
to the buyer's agent. Trust me.
Oh, that sounds like a great search. I'd love to help you with that. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Helen, for sharing your story with me and for those out there listening. I think if one thing I've learned is that my podcasts are making a difference and you are able to do it on your own. So Thank you very much, Helen, for giving up your time to come and talk with me. Now, if you are listening and you're going, hey, I wanna be like Helen and own my own property, and I haven't covered some aspects of property buying, and you want to know certain things, drop me a line at hello@buyerside.com.au, or you hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, or even TikTok. I'd love to hear your questions, and make your property journey a little bit easier to navigate. So thank you for listening, and until next time.